Welcome back everybody to another episode on EI Entertainment Studios, back at it with another debate video. Today's debate video we're going to be talking about Godzilla 2019 versus Mecha MUTO. If this is your first time ever watching a debate video on this channel, what I like to do is I try to open a door that's never been opened before. Let me explain. Mecha MUTO in this case is not a real kaiju. It doesn't exist in the legendary monsterverse or in any of the Toho films. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to see if this kaiju were to be real and in the monsterverse, what would its characteristics be? What would the origins be? Pretty much what would all the specifications of this kaiju be? And most importantly, could it defeat Godzilla? That is the biggest question we're trying to answer today, and that's how we're going to answer it in this debate video. So this is the plan. We're going to talk about Mecha MUTO first. The backstory, abilities, specifications. Same thing about Godzilla 2019. Once we're done with both of these monsters, we're going to put them up against each other in a death battle. And I'll go more deeper into detail once we get there. So without further ado, let's start with the backstory of Mecha MUTO that I was able to come up with. So Mecha MUTO came into existence after an extraterrestrial life form from planet Saturn came down to Earth and abducted the leftover body parts of the MUTO from the battle in 2014. The aliens rebuilt MUTO with robotic parts to give it a second chance, with their plan to rule the Earth. So that's pretty much the backstory of Mecha MUTO. I'm going to skim over the abilities right now. We're going to finish up Mecha MUTO and we're going to come back to the abilities before we move on to Godzilla 2019. We're going to do a deep analysis, so don't worry. But for right now, I'm going to do a quick skim. Abilities goes as follows. Super E.M.P, eye rockets, flying crash, leg hooks, radiation charge blast, and face rocket. Territorial level is none, aggression level is maximum, biome is earth and space. Height is approximately 136 meters tall. Alright, so going back to the abilities and doing a deep analysis. Super E.M.P. So Super E.M.P. is very interesting because we know the original MUTO had E.M.P, which would shut down, which is electronic magnetic pulse, and would shut down all electronics. However, in this case, being a super E.M.P, it can also shut down radiation coming from any other item, including living organisms. So he can actually shut down all planes and all that cool stuff, but it can also shut down the atomic breath of Godzilla for a very limited amount of time. This is very powerful. After this we have eye rockets. Eye rockets are pretty much very basic, but from the eyes of Mecha MUTO, his eyes can open up a chamber where a buttload of rockets will be sent out and will rip into the flesh of the opponent. Nothing extra specifically, it's just meant to stun the opponent. It's not going to kill anything really, unless it's a very, very small opponent or it's humanity or planes and stuff like that. But something the size of Godzilla, it's just going to stun them. But it is powerful because if it stuns them, it gives Mecha MUTO a chance to hit back if he is quite damaged. Now, continuing from there, we have the flying crash. Interestingly enough, the reason why this is flying crash, everything that they have been fighting around, most probably 99.9% of the time when monsters fight, they knock down buildings and cars and planes and pretty much what, or trees, depends on wherever they're fighting. They knock down everything because they are humongously big. What this specific ability does for Mecha MUTO is anything that has been destroyed from the battle but has been only touched by Mecha MUTO can be lifted up and thrown at supersonic speeds towards Godzilla. So a building being thrown at supersonic speeds at Godzilla. Now that can do damage because of the power of the speed hitting the flesh of Godzilla 2019. But it has to be knocked down by Mecha MUTO or else his body will not recognize it. So if you were to knock down half of the city of Japan in the battle and use this ability, half of the city of Japan, all of whatever is in the city, whatever building it is, whatever he knocked down, would go straight into, smash into Godzilla 2019 with this ability. Okay, after this we have the leg hooks. On the bottom of Mecha MUTO's legs there are hooks, and these hooks can extend for about 250 meters long. That's a big and long distance. And what they do is they go really long out and they swing back in again at supersonic speeds and just rip into the flesh of the opponent. It is dangerous and powerful. And if you were to get the head or the brain, it's bye-bye for most monsters. It is a goodbye for most monsters. So, this is a dangerous one. So, after that, we have a radiation charge blast. This is nothing, specifically dangerous. It's just like, well, it is, but it's not the most deadliest thing in my opinion out of this bunch. It is an atomic breath, or it's like an atomic breath, it's a radiation blast, just like how Godzilla has radiation blast, so it depends how it's used and when it's used. And if it's used in the correct time, it can definitely do a lot of damage, specifically if the monster is already dealing a lot of damage from other abilities. But it's just a big laser that causes a buttload of damage. Alright, finally we have the face rocket. The face rocket is interesting. It's not a rocket coming out of his face, but instead what it is Mecha MUTO can form into a body of a rocket, and once it does that, it becomes very sharp on the tip of his head, and he himself can fly into the flesh of his opponents and rip into the body, and then start eating out the flesh. Well, he's not gonna really eat it out because he's biting it, he's a robot, but he's gonna bite it all out. Okay, that pretty much sums up Mecha MUTO. Let's move on to Godzilla 2019. Now, the backstory of Godzilla 2019 is quite interesting. He's not like any other Godzilla from Toho, because he's not obviously from Toho, but what I'm trying to say is, from Toho, most of the Godzillas, if not all of them, are abominations like Shin Godzilla and Godzilla 1954, who are mistakes from the atomic bomb, or a nuclear waste as is for Shin Godzilla. And pretty much they're not supposed to be here. They're mistakes of humanity and come to wreak havoc. Godzilla 2019, or we can call him Legendary Godzilla, is actually the quite opposite of that. He is an original monster of Earth, he's meant to be here, and his sole purpose is to bring balance into nature. So he's actually a very good thing. And his backstory is basically he's a old ancient monster worshipped as a god in the old days. And he is an original kaiju on Earth that brings balance and protects it from any threats, including humanity if it needs to. That's the basic backstory of Godzilla 2019. Now, the abilities of Godzilla 2019, we're going to go into them quick, we're going to go deep. I'm not going to skim over them, I'm just going to go deep into them right now. And we're going to go as follows. He has the atomic breath, one of the most powerful atomic breaths, not the most powerful, but one of the most powerful atomic breath in all of Godzilla's, and we've seen that. I think the most powerful atomic breath is between Godzilla 1984 and Shin Godzilla. But anyways, he is very powerful. He has super good agility. He can kick, he can fight, he can tail whip, he can punch. All that stuff is in there. The tail whip is insanely strong. I think he will have one of the strongest tail whips out of all Godzilla's though. Well, actually, yeah, if we're talking about live action, yes, but if we're talking all Godzillas in general, then Godzilla Earth will definitely take the cake. Now, with that being said, he is the only Godzilla I've ever seen with my own two eyes survive the oxygen destroyer, which makes him super powerful and agile, and very hard to kill. And then, finally, he has one super ability which cannot be completed on its own. He needs two catalysts, excessive radiation, which means more radiation than his body already has, and the complete energy of Mothra, and she has to die because she has to give all of her energy, everything, to him. And once those two are fulfilled, he can turn into Burning Godzilla. Some people call it Fire Godzilla, but it is confirmed to be called Burning Godzilla. And pretty much basically, it's not the same as 1995 version, it's just him at super hot speeds, exploding radiation at his opponent and melting them down in a very gory way. Now, the territorial level is maximum, aggression level is maximum, biome is Earth, and height is around 119 meters tall. Alright folks, we are done with both of these monsters. Now we're going to go into the final stage, and that is the battle. How I'm going to do this is exactly this. We're going to do a far range battle and a close range battle. The reason why is this. When we do a far range battle, we're going to restrict some abilities, and we're trying to see what this kaiju can do if some of its abilities are restricted. Can it still battle or function properly? And then close range is just an all-out war to see who is the strongest, so best out of two. Obviously close range is the most practical one. We're going to leave best for last. We're going to do far range first. So let's explain that one first. Far range, these monsters are going to be set apart at 700 meters apart. They cannot, I repeat, cannot get closer than 700 meters. So we're going to start off with the abilities of Mecha MUTO and see what he can and cannot use. We have the Super E.M.P. Okay, he can be used at far distance. Eye rockets, sure. Flying crash will not work. It needs to be close distance for that to work. Leg hooks will not work. Radiation charge blast will work. Face rocket will not work. So the only thing that will actually work is the Super E.M.P, the eye rockets, and the radiation charge blast, and that's it. Now for Godzilla, it's very limited as well. He can only use his atomic breath and burning ability. Okay. Now, Mecha MUTO being the invader and Godzilla being the protector of the Earth, I'm already assuming that Godzilla is going to be the first one to start the battle because he is the defender of the Earth. And I think he's going to use, obviously he's not going to use fire or the burning Godzilla. First he's going to use the atomic breath as a warning hit to leave or fight. And he's going to use it towards Mecha MUTO. It's obviously not going to do anything to Mecha MUTO to a level of damage of a high degree, but it will definitely stun him and cause him to initiate the battle as a robotic sequence. And obviously I see as a response, I would see the only best thing he has at the moment is radiation charge blast of shooting Godzilla with some very powerful high speeds of radiation. Now it's obviously going to cause a good deal of damage towards Godzilla. It's not going to kill him on this first time, but it's going to cause a lot of damage. And as a response, it's going to be kind of dumb, you know, because most of their abilities are restricted at far range. And it's going to be like a back and forth atomic breath show. And I think what's going to be the game stopper here is when Mecha MUTO, or well actually, let's say like this. When Godzilla 2019 turns on his fire ability, or we can say burning ability, and is about to blast, Mecha MUTO can use his Super E.M.P, and the burning ability will actually be shut off. And then, as that happens, the radiation charge blast can be abused on him, and that will put down Godzilla. So I think in a scenario of far range, Mecha MUTO has a better chance of defeating Godzilla. Okay, let's go into close range, where it's a whole new ball game, and it's more face-to-face, no limits. Again, I see Godzilla starting off. So, before I do continue though, it is 1-0. Okay, just to make it clear. So, face to face. Let's see what happens. Godzilla, obviously having the height disadvantage of 119 meters tall, Mecha MUTO being 136 meters tall. Not a big difference, but there is a difference. Godzilla is obviously more physically stronger. Now, I see Godzilla just blasting him out with the atomic breath. And then just after, let's say, he uses the super E.M.P, Mecha MUTO, and he shuts off the atomic breath for a limited amount of time, face to face, they're going to be just hitting each other. And Mecha MUTO will use the leg hook and just completely rip up the flesh of Godzilla 2019. And that's gonna cause a buttload of damage. And assuming that he gets the arms, the legs, the chest, he's gonna just rip into the flesh of Godzilla 2019 and just cause him to bleed all over the place, which is gonna be a big problem. And every time he tries to use the atomic breath, the super E.M.P turns on. And then he turns into Face Rocket and absolutely destroys Godzilla, if not ripping him in half. So I think this specific recreation of Mecha MUTO is the one that defeats Godzilla. The original MUTO was not able to do it, this one will be. And therefore, after what I just explained, Mecha MUTO will be the winner 2-0 in this debate. Obviously, this is just my opinion. You can debate me in the comment section below, obviously. And also requests are gladly accepted for future debate videos. Anyways everyone, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.